Just paint the picture really quickly about how we got this. This is at the American History Museum, the actual Star Spangled Banner.
Right, and that's where we're going. So they get up. The British go back to march back. By the way, a storm blows up. They think it may have been a small hurricane, actually, the night that they burned Washington. That puts out the fires, and that's why the walls of Congress and the White House are saved. That's why we still have the original walls today, because of that. They get back, they march back to boats, they go and they sail upriver. And Baltimore is a much more important topic to them because it's a major port city, and they want Baltimore. But Baltimore has a masonry brick fort outside Fort McHenry, and when they get word that the Brits have landed, they start preparing. And one of the things they did was the women in the city start sewing this massive, larger than regulation called for sign, because the American general said, hey, I want that in your face, right? And so they sew the flag that is now the original Star Spangled Banner, the 15-star flag you just showed, and they wave that. The Brits come up and they bombard them all night long, and Francis Scott Key, a young Maryland lawyer, has gone to the British fleet before the attack begins to ask if he can negotiate release of an American who was held captive. And they said, yeah, we'll let him go, but you got to stay on. We're about to attack, so you got to stay. So he watches the bombardment all night, and, black powder guns, there's gun smoke. There's a lot of smoke, and it's dark, and he doesn't know. There's no lights, and he doesn't know what's going to happen. And so he nervously waits. And then the next morning when the sun comes up, our flag was still there. This huge flag that you're seeing there is still flying. And he writes the poem of Star Spangled Banner, which later becomes the national anthem.